So, when scientists were trying to figure out what gravity is, they realized that quantum mechanics is not able to describe gravity because general relativity doesn't work in curved space time. I'm sorry, quantum physics doesn't work in the curved space time of general relativity. So they thought of how about the most fundamental entity or particle in the universe is just a one dimensional vibrating string. And maybe the entire universe, the atoms, protons, quarks, all the fundamental particles, everything, all the interactions emerge out of these one dimensional vibrating strings. So they tried to construct a universe out of that idea. Now they found that in order to make this idea work, the mathematics it did not work in a three-dimensional or four-dimensional mathematics. They needed to have 10 or 11 dimensions to make this theory mathematically consistent. Otherwise, it would fail. So it is all in order to fit this idea of vibrating strings as the foundation of the universe that they had to construct the theory in 10 or 11 dimensions.
Maybe the string is the connection between the soul and the God.
Anything is possible. We don't know at this stage. We don't know at this stage. But what you have described to me, all these different dimensions and the single consciousness that we are part of, this essentially is Vedanta, what you're talking about. The philosophy of Vedanta talks about the fact that if there is light in space, it doesn't shine. Unless there is an object, it can shine off. So the object is, so that light is consciousness, and the object it shines off is your soul. So that is the kind of philosophy you have in Vedanta. I'm not saying it's science, it's philosophy. There is a distinction because philosophy talks about non-physical concepts and phenomena and objects, which science cannot address. And this is the reason why theoretical physicists, especially people like Bohr, Schrödinger, Heisenberg, all these pioneers of quantum physics, they invariably found themselves drawn towards Indian philosophy and Vedanta. Because these concepts, if you think deeply about them, there seem to be striking parallels. So that these ancient Indians from thousands of years ago have contemplated the things which quantum mechanics is now making us think about. They have already thought about these things, and they have created a philosophy out of it by exploring the inner universe via meditation. Physics and science is about exploring the external universe, whereas spirituality and philosophy and meditation is about exploring the inner universe. And it appears that we can find answers to the external universe by looking within as well. So there seems to be some sort of connection between the two. And that is the thing about why theoretical physicists are invariably drawn towards, once they reach a certain level of maturity and intelligence, they are drawn towards Vedanta.
I have a trippy thought that I've thought a lot about lately, which is that the concept of thoughts is that they're not our own. For example, don't tell me your name, sir, but close your mouth and don't say anything. Just think of your name. You heard a voice in your head say Abhijit. Now, where did that voice come from? So there is some source of something that's even giving us our thoughts, which means that anything you can think of. I think of a red tornado. Maybe on the surface of Venus, that red tornado is actually happening. So anything that you think of is actually there somewhere.
I have heard this before somewhere, that anything you can imagine does exist somewhere on this universe. There is a place somewhere in the enormity of the universe, that any thought, anything you can think of in your mind, no matter how abstract or ridiculous it is, it may actually exist somewhere.
Because imagine you're thinking of a very crazily drawn robot. There's a kid in South Korea who's currently drawing that robot. But because you and that kid are connected to the same consciousness, you're thinking of that thought. You're thinking of that thought through his eyes or her eyes. And that's the nature of thoughts, which is why, all these crazy thoughts we have, or the crazy thoughts that scientists have, are probably just gifts given to them by that consciousness. That, okay, you worked hard enough. Here, why don't you take this thought in your dream? And then once you wake up, show the world the truth using formulae and science.
It does feel like a gift once you see that clarity, that moment of clarity when you know the answer. It does feel like a gift from the heavens. It does. It's like a flash of light just opened up to you, and you saw the answer.
Yeah.
So you saw the truth.
Yeah, you saw the truth.
It's the truth.